welcome to our latest bonus chat from our weekly pod recording. If you missed it, myself and Mark Jackson looked at both the third Lions test as well as the impact of the series overall. Do check it out on Apple, Spotify, and all the other usual places. Well, we have finally come to the end of our sixth season of podcasts, and it was a long one. We started way back in mid-September, and now we can put a lid on things. After Mark did such an excellent job focusing on the Lions for us, I thought I'd give him the opportunity to quickly look back over the campaign for our more regular teams of focus, namely Leinster and Ireland. We'll start with Leinster. No fifth star, but eventually URC champions. Was it a satisfying campaign overall?
A mixed bag, but eventually a successful one. Trophies are always welcome. Probably not the one we wanted if you're given a choice. But listen, the reaction after a very disappointing end to the European campaign was great to see. And the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and final of the URC were a cracking end to the season.
Yeah, because when before the season began, we all we could talk about was how no result mattered until we got to the business end of the season for Leinster. I mean, we literally said Leinster could win every single game and it really wouldn't matter. The season would be kicking off. And that's exactly what happened. They did win every single game, pretty much up until that day in the Aviva. And even then, like when at the start of the season, we would have anticipated that bad performance happening in the final. Maybe we almost had ourselves in the final, I think, in our heads. And it's just the shock of that day on top of what had happened the previous three seasons. I think was a lot to take, but it with all the reaction, and it was a lot of reaction from a lot of fans, and there was a lot of disappointment, and it was justified disappointment, but there was still a trophy to be won. And it was a question of how the players reacted to it. And in the end, they did.
Yeah. Don't even take the 3 years previous bad results into account. We were so good in the end of the European Cup group stages and the quarterfinal. We went something crazy like 142 minutes without conceding a point. Obviously, Keno will have the exact minute and second we have when we actually conceded. But listen, the Harlequins game and the Glasgow game, I say game, they were just training runs, to be honest with you. And it didn't set us up for Northampton. And Northampton, to be fair to them, had their game plan right. They had nothing to lose. They came out all guns firing, and it kind of caught us cold, really. How do you prepare for that? You can't. You can't. But what I really loved was there was an anger in the players and the coaches. There was a steely toughness to the last three games in the URC where nobody was going to beat us. We just had that attitude, whatever it takes. Basically, now at this stage, it doesn't matter what happens come May, and they're not going home empty-handed.
And one of the focuses, I suppose, going into the season from the Leinster squad point of view was we're still trying to find a definition of the 10 jersey. And this was the season when Sam Prendergast was selected for both Leinster and Ireland. It kind of a mixed bag performances for himself. But how do you see it, like from the season, now that the season is over, how do you see that kind of competition going now for the 10 jersey?
I think it's got to be a restart. But to be honest with you, I think Sam is probably in number one position. But I do hope Kieran Frawley and the returning Harry Byrne get enough chances and enough minutes to show what they can do. I have to be honest, I still think the best 10 performance of the season was the first half in Italy and Benetton way back when from Kieran Frawley. He just looked like an absolute world beater. He was getting second touches and third touches, something that when Sam is at his best, he does, and something that Johnny Sexton used to do a lot. So with Johnny Sexton taking on a coaching role in the IRF, you want to see him sort of drill that into Sam, that it's not just really good listening to actually Dan Baker on the Lions tour talking about how Finn Russell has been a better player because he's not on the ball all the time. It's something that Sam maybe needs to learn, to put other players in first receiver and just take the ball when he's going to affect the outcome of the play better. Uh, Again, as I said, I'd like to see early season. I know you want to get a settled side, but listen, if you back the form horse, and if it's Harry Byrne, so be it. If it's Charlie Tector steps up, if Kieran Frawley steps up, if Sam steps up and shows he's the dog to back in the race, go with him. Sam has some great talents, but he was probably forced too often, too soon for my own personal liking.
Yeah, it'd be definitely. I mean, like you said, we can't rule out Harry Byrne as well coming back. We've got some rugby over in Bristol, and he seemed to be doing well over there. He'll be keen to be coming back in. Obviously, his brother Ross has gone to Gloucester. We wish him all the best, but it will be interesting to see how the battle goes. And like you said, Sam also featured for Ireland, and he became our regular starting 10 for Ireland. So let's have a quick look at Ireland's season. Of course, there was just one defeat in November and one in the Six Nations, but still, it wasn't a season that was anyway close to the previous two.
Again, a mixed bag. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater here. We lost once every 6 months. Go to be a successful team like we've been over the last few years, and just be really consistent. Be a little bit inconsistent, I suppose, the season is the problem. Again, I think we should have used the season a little bit more in terms of trying to blood newer cats, or to give guys a bit more of a chance. That's the only problem I would have had. Really, we have a very, very difficult 12 months coming up. We've played, I think, nine games against teams either ranked ahead of us or around us, and we play Australia again, home and away. We play New Zealand and South Africa. So it's a very important year for Ireland in terms of what the World Cup seedings and for the continued success of the national team. I think we've had a really good couple of weeks run out against Portugal and Georgia, where guys got capped and showed what they can do. And hopefully the extended squad, when we're not playing those really, really top tier one teams over the next 12 to 18 months, we give those guys a chance again.
Yeah, I suppose you could argue that. I suppose the most significant games for Ireland over the past season were those two games while the Lions players were away, because pretty much the entire they were able to take out almost an entire 15 players. So it was a chance for all of the next players to step up, and they did. I mean, obviously, second game was more of a training exercise, but still, they still got to run out. They still got to train with the squad. They got to pull on the green jersey. It's a great experience for all of them, and can only make the squad stronger going forward.
Yeah, he expands things that people probably don't see all the time. Craig Casey's part of the leadership group now. He captained the team very well in both those games, and certainly somebody who will probably get more minutes coming back after the tours for himself and for Gibson Park. I think we can't rely on as many minutes for one player in any position going forward. So hopefully we see the expanded squad getting more minutes, or being trusted more, is what I'm trying to say, really, with because it all boils down to the World Cup time again. We still lack a little bit of depth, as we always do come quarterfinal time, and hopefully we can get this sorted by the time we work out in Australia in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we follow the games week in, week out. We sort of gauge the online commentary from the fans, and there was a lot of doom and gloom throughout the season of both Leinster and Ireland. But I think the thing you have to remember is that the standards are high with both Leinster and Ireland, but there are other teams out there that are kind of competing as well, and they're going to have their good moments too. And I think the fact that both Leinster and Ireland are still there, Leinster got a trophy, Ireland are still up there. They won 4 out of 5 in the Six Nations. They have had some good wins. They brought on some good players. Plenty of positives in both, and there's a lot more positives to bring forward. Than it's good that we're expecting them to win trophies and be successful all the time. But the fact that they're up there and competing, and things are looking decent enough. Andy Farrell's going to be coming back as well. He was gone for the season. We didn't have his influence. Now he's back with his entire focus on the Ireland team. So we'll have him back in November. So there's a lot to look forward to. And of course, the next outing is, of course, against New Zealand in Chicago. So that'll be a good start to see where we are.
Yeah, again, it's probably evolution, not revolution, is needed. I think if you break Ireland down into the 4 provinces, you've got Mr. McMillan coming down south. Hopefully he brings something to the Munster squad, and then Stu Lancaster hopefully sorts something out in province in Connacht. And Richie Murphy gets a first full season, I think, with his backroom staff in Ulster. So it's quite an uplifting time, I think, to be involved with Ireland again. And there's a lot to be excited about. I think there's 4 provinces have 4 very good head coaches in place, and hopefully we see involvement from them as well, and hopefully trickle down effect from Farrell's success in the Lions goes back to Ireland and therefore in the provinces as well.
Definitely an exciting season to look ahead. But by God, I think we need a few weeks off just to get our own batteries recharged in the meantime. So, but listen, we're going to leave it there. Many thanks to Mark for joining me. And if you're watching this and you have any thoughts yourself, do let us know in the comments. And while you're at it, please do also help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you.